Mike, turn your games down.
Welcome to a very spooky movie episode of Games My Mom Found. This is going to be our Halloween special that will be dropping on Halloween.
Will it?
Yes, actually. I am Mike Albertin, and who's trick-or-treating with me tonight?
I'm Tiffany Albertin, and yep, that's all I got.
Everybody, this is Kenneth Sanity, and yes, Charlie Brown is an asshole.
I'm Bill from A Gamer Looks at 40, and I like your eye patch.
I'm Kyle Foster, and I'm eagerly awaiting a visit from Sam.
Yes.
Hey, as long as you don't break the rules of Halloween, you'll be okay.
Do not put that.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for him. I got my candy. I got everything ready.
And Ken, what are we here to talk about? Because you suggested it.
Today, we are talking about the amazing horror anthology movie Trick or Treat from 2007/2009, written and directed by Michael Dougherty.
I always find that funny if I knew a guy named Michael Dougherty. It was not this guy, but...
No, I was like, why does that name sound familiar? I called him Jedi Mike.
But that's only because when the first time you met him, he had a Jedi robot for some reason.
Yeah, why did he?
I don't know.
But that's how I distinguished Mike, my boyfriend, from Mike, his friend.
I think it was cosplay. I think we were at a convention, maybe. I don't know.
Forever he
I hope
became
so.
Jedi Mike. I don't think so.
I don't either, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
I don't remember. And we'll do memories first. So I've seen this movie one time before, probably 8 years ago, but I have zero memory. I had pretty much zero memory of it, I found out while rewatching this. Or I didn't watch all of it last time. Not sure which one.
Probably a second one.
Yeah, probably.
It's not really that gory or scary.
It's
You
not.
like when Anna Paquin tore off.
I like
her
that,
skin?
but that's a different reason. And
That's weird.
Tiffany, what is your history with this movie?
I think I was aware of it, but I've never seen it. And I still haven't seen the whole movie. I kind of recapped it, so we'll see how this goes.
And Ken.
Oh, I watched this once upon a time, probably around 2010, when I saw it in the video store. And the video store. Children.
Blockbuster.
Let me explain. Oh, it wasn't a Blockbuster. Once upon a time, there were places called video stores where you could go to rent movies. They were on VHS tapes, or in some cases, like this one, a new format called DVD.
Oh.
And folks, if you want that video store experience, you can still have it at your local library. In fact, it's even better because it's free.
You can download digital as well.
You can?
Okay.
But that's not the same.
No. Not the
Yes,
same
it
as walking
is.
down the aisle.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they don't.
Not really. My brother and I's first film studies was going to Blockbuster Video next to the Chinese buffet my mom and grandfather used to go to all the time because we didn't like crab legs. They would sit there for an hour and just eat crab legs. They're like, can we leave and go to the video store next door? And we never rented anything. We just trolled the halls of the video store, looking at boxes, reading descriptions. That's how we developed our first taste in movies. That was very formative. And I weep for the generation that doesn't have that experience.
Did they have an adult section?
No, this was a Blockbuster. It was right. They did not have the jangly curtains or the waka 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 oldie time saloon doors like the other one did by our house. That one had the oldie time saloon doors, and it was great because they were really loud, so you knew when someone was going back to the naughty section to get something because they waka 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 waka. It was fantastic.
That is great.
And Kyle.
Well, so I actually discovered this in about the mid to late 2010s. So on a complete whim, I actually found out about this movie through an online video. This person who introduced me to it is this YouTuber. I've known her since way before, like in the late 2000s. Her name is Allison Pregler, and she did this short look at Trick or Treat, and I checked it out, and I was like, oh, this movie looks like a ton of fun. I found myself a copy, and I was like, oh, this movie, fucking rules. So I've actually seen it a couple of times. I've seen it, at least 3-4 times now. Yeah, I love this movie. This movie's fantastic.
All right. And Ken, what is the plot of this film?
I think you mean what are the plots
Yeah.
of this film? A couple fails to respect holiday traditions to disastrous results. A father passes on Halloween traditions to his young son. 5 children experience a Halloween prank gone horribly wrong. A young Red Riding Hood meets a predator in the woods. And an old man learns the true meaning of Halloween. These 5 interconnected stories are the backbone of this cult classic horror anthology meant to educate as well as horrify.
That was good as always.
Good job.
Thank you.
I remember liking this movie a lot. Then we went into it last night. I wasn't as into it. I don't know what it was.
This movie has a problem, and the problem is that it came out in 2007.
Yeah, no one bothered to ask me my history with this movie.
Oh God, I forgot.
Oh, no,
sorry,
it's fine.
Bill.
It's all well and good. I have none, so I have really
Oh.
nothing to add. Probably because this was released in one of my heights of my film snobbery, when there was no way I was going to spend money to see a movie that has apostrophe R, trick or treat. There's no way that was going to happen. So I don't like this movie at all. Actually,
it is a box for Bill.
I had a not great time last night. We'll get into it. And I think we're probably going to land on it. We may have different opinions on this, although we're going to land on the same conclusion. Because I think the conclusion you reach on this movie is not necessarily indicative of how much you like it. This is a very 2007 movie. I didn't realize it was an anthology, and when I found out it was an anthology, I was like, ooh, okay, Creep Show, Trick or Treat. I love Creep Show. I really enjoyed my time with Creep Show. This is Creep Show. This is Creep Show with twice the horny and half the wit. It's and I don't need twice the horny, and I really wanted more just cleverness. We'll talk about each individual thing. There are things to enjoy about it. There are some silly things in it, but by and large, I was very annoyed and turned off.
It wasn't horny enough.
What?
No,
Really?
it was okay. I mean,
How horny did you want it to be?
I want Hellraiser horny.
see,
Yeah.
No, I
This
mean,
is like-
I would have rather had this movie be less horny, but if you're going to be horny, why not be Hellraiser horny?
Well,
is what
that's
I'm
the
trying to
thing.
Want everybody strapped up to chains, their skin being pulled off?
say. I mean, if that's what you're going for, sure, or just don't do it.
See,
I
here's
mean-
the thing. Horniness exists on a spectrum, like
Yes.
most things in life. And you can't just flip a switch and go Hellraiser horny, because nobody finances Hellraiser horny these days.
Yeah, Mike.
Even in early 2000s, nobody was financing Hellraiser horny.
I know. It just, since he brought that up, I was like, well, this movie didn't feel that horny. I mean, it is like with the intro thing of where she's like, where the guy wants to get laid, and then I was thinking to myself, like, you're gonna let her do all the work and just wait for her, you asshole? But
Yeah,
that's neither here nor there.
Oh, Mike's such a gentleman. I love it.
It's better than he did.
With me.
better. Yeah, I think it's accurate. So I think the problem with me in this movie, and we'll go through each story as a story, I suppose. It is very cleverly made in that how everything is interconnected, and you get introduced to the characters through the side stories of everybody else. It's kind of all happening on one Halloween night. That's very clever and neat. When it comes to the sexual content of it, I kind of agree with not horny enough. Because if you're gonna do it, this kind of like tee-hee Spice Channel, like Spice Channel, but you don't have access to it, so it's all blurred out and negative. Kind of like ooh, I don't know. It just really was annoying. I was very annoyed through most of my time, and this movie spends a lot of time punching down, which really bugged me, and in a way that I didn't expect to be.
How so?
Well, we'll talk. With 20 minutes in, we have the whole scene with the kid who smashes the jack-o'-lanterns and the evil principal. And I don't want to go out of order, but if we're going to cover it, we'll cover it. I really don't like that stereotype. I think that's an ugly stereotype of the fat kid who eats too much chocolate. So, hey, let's feed him some cyanide-laced candy bars and and let's watch him throw up blood and chocolate, kind of, sort of both.
That was blood and chocolate.
I guess.
Yeah, it had reddish tints to it. I was trying to figure it out, but it plays it all for this joke. And when I saw that this movie was billed as a horror comedy, I was like, oh no. Because those don't hit very well for me usually. There's got to be a pretty special horror comedy to hit for me.
The
So I was
weird
kind of
thing
going
is-
in and
Here's the weird thing. I would actually totally agree with you, except like this is one of the rare instances where that actually like, it's not that I like punching down, because I actually don't. I find a lot of it try too hard and really fucking obnoxious, but like this is like the one time that it actually kind of worked for me. Like the one time where I was like, oh, I don't want to fucking strangle the director because he's like, oh, isn't this funny? It's so edgy. And I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up, you loser. Like, yeah, this is like the one rare time where it actually like worked. Where like it's not like I loved it either. Like I was in love with the material, but it's like, no, you know what? This actually this kind of works.
And that comes down to a matter of taste, right? And that's totally fine.
Totally,
You know,
totally. Yeah.
For me personally, I just felt very sad at this kid who's clearly got stuff going on, smashing his jack-o'-lanterns and getting entrapped by the evil principal. Yeah,
It's different because he's not murdered by a supernatural threat. He's murdered by a piece of shit human.
Mm.
So I think it also, like, you look at the other things that happen here, they're all more supernatural threats.
That's fair.
Billy Bob Thornton.
But it's just like that nature of it. I think, because I didn't like it either. I mean, that kind of bothered me that like you're doing the stereotypical thing. But it also bothered me that it was a human when the rest of the movie isn't humans.
That's fair. That's interesting. Yeah.
I think I don't really like it when it's a human as much if it doesn't, like, depending on the movie. Like, I mean, if you're going to do like a serial killer, okay, fine. Like, that's your horror villain. But I think I'm starting to like more, I like it when the woman survives. Yeah, I like it when there's something like special.
Oh, totally. Like, I especially agree with Mike's comment where like I like it when the girl survives, because like I'm a queer man. I'm a queer transgender man. I grew up as a girl, so like I always loved whenever the girl got to survive and she got to do like the cool shit in a horror movie. Like she got to like martial arts fight the monster or the bad guy, or she got to like kick ass. Like I loved that so much.
I think when it's a human, it feels too close to reality. And like the fact that it's a principal who's just a psychopath, like I think that hits a little too close to like real life. But for people, like I think that's why it bothered me too a little bit more, because it turns out that he wasn't a monster. I mean, he was a monster, but he wasn't like a supernatural monster.
And well, Ken, I'll let you weigh on it too, because I think Ken had an audible reaction to my comment.
Yeah, please, Ken.
No. I 100% see how some people could really have an issue with this movie. But like the main reason that, okay, first off, as a fat kid, yeah, he would have got me. Fucking give me candy.
Same. I'm a chubby dude. Like I would have fucking gotten into that and like immediately gotten murdered. Like just like within a second.
It's not where I would have been murdered. I would have been murdered later in this movie.
I just
hot chicks.
Yes. My dumbass would have went right. My dumbass would have right along with her. Like, okay, where we going, Red Riding Hood, huh?
But like I hate to trot out the old favorite, it was a different time. But it was a different time, even in the early 2000s.
Oh,
like,
dude, the 2000s were the fucking worst for this shit. Like the whole like, oh, it was a different time. Like we go on like the 80s and 90s for being a different time, but like honestly, the 2000s, as recent as they were like the worst for this shit. Like I've seen plenty of 90s and 80s stuff that has actually aged pretty like gracefully. Like 2000 stuff though, like holy shit, it's aged like milk in the goddamn sun.
Sorry, the milk was funny to me.
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't know if like, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think in order to really kind of get into the right frame of mind, you got to put yourself back in those movies of the 80s, into Goonies, into Monster Squad.
Mm-hmm, of course.
That's what this feels like to me. This has big... Monster Squad, I'd say more than Goonies, because, Goonies was pretty shitty sometimes to people.
Honestly, like, it's funny that you're making the comparison between that, like, the Goonies and Monster Squad, because like I said, like, I'll say, like, in some aspects, this is probably aged a little worse than either of those two, because here's the thing, at least for, say, something like the Monster Squad, which has, like, one F slur drop, at least for the Monster Squad, the F slur drop was from the bully, and he gets punished for saying it. Like, he literally gets punished for saying it. Like right after he says that and calls someone the F slur, one of the other characters comes up and punishes him for it, and like, hey, you're being an asshole, stop it, and like punishes him. So like, I'll even say somehow that's actually aged like 1% more gracefully than this. And like, I love this movie, but like, like if we're gonna call out the garbage, like the shitty moments, like, yeah, okay, I'll join in on this.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody who has a shitty moment in this movie gets punished.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do.
Okay.
They do. But by the time they get to their comeuppance, I was out. I kind of was emotionally out already. And,
I totally getcha.
and another piece of it too was tone. And again, personal line, when I'm trying to evaluate a movie from a critical standpoint, I kind of have to put my own tastes and distastes aside to a certain extent. And I'm decent at that. I've probably gotten worse at it as I'm less practiced in criticism. When I was doing film reviews, that was part of the gig, right? It's not how much I liked it, how much do I appreciate it, right? And I've probably gotten worse at that the less reviewing I've done over the years, for better or for worse. But for me, it was definitely an issue of tone as well. It was especially that second section. And again, we're talking early in the movie where the movie, you're still trying to establish a tone. I really just didn't. The joke wasn't landing for me. The joke of the psychotic principal just wasn't landing. And since that a big portion of that is just one joke, if that one joke doesn't land, it really sets it. And then the horniness and all that is just stuff I'm not saying I find distasteful, but it's more, trust me, some stuff we've seen I've covered for this show. Please. I am no prude when it comes to that. But it just smacked to me very much so of mid-2000s, which is not an era of movie making I look upon very fondly.
Yeah, same.
And it's not an era that I love. And it was like, oh, this is very mid-2000s Van Wilder style.
Yeah, like George. This is George Bush politics. Fucking
Iraq
celebrity war.
Celebrity death match. You know.
Yeah. Everyone's saying all the slurs, and then whenever they were called out on saying slurs, they'd be like, "Oh, they're just words. They can't hurt anybody." And it's like, fuck you, Jesus Christ.
I half expected an old Jerky Boys bit to come playing on someone's loudspeaker on their radio as driving by in the car. It just tonally bugged me, and I wasn't in on the joke.
No,
but there's some other stuff I actually like. I think this movie actually does a good job from a technical standpoint of building dread, of building suspense. A lot of this stuff I could do with one or two less dead children, but that's just my personal take.
Yeah.
Again, that's a personal thing for me. But there are some things this movie does actually pretty well that I will give it props for. But it was not an enjoyable experience for me as I was watching. I'm like, this is not my thing.
I think one of my issues is I like anthology stuff, but I like it where one story ends, the next story starts, like how Creepshow was, to go back to that thing. And this isn't that. I mean, it works, but I think it's one of those things where, like, had I watched it a second time today, which I was thinking about but didn't happen.
I planned on it.
Yes, I think then I would have enjoyed it more because then I would have understood the timey-wimey, jumpy thing that was happening. Timey-wimey, jumpy. That's it. Timey-wimey, jumpy.
It should be in a dictionary. If it's not, submit it right now. Timey-wimey, jumpy.
Yeah, do it. Come on.
The National Film Register.
People.
He's been recording me for over 4 years now. Or 5 years. No, me and Bill. Bill's heard me make up many words.
So
I'm into this.
Like, this is probably a good, time to point out that it's an anthology in the way that Pulp Fiction is an anthology.
Yes, that's
true.
Like, this is the Pulp Fiction of horror anthologies, pretty much. There are no titles. Everything is somewhat connected. You see people from each story in other people's stories. And, I think they pulled it off. As far as making this seem like one really fucked up place to spend a Halloween.
Oh, I agree. I think structurally it works on that level. Absolutely.
But then there are some things that, may not work as well,
Yeah.
When is Pulp Fiction? 90s?
1994. 1994.
Okay, so
Just rattle that off top of their head.
I figured somebody.
I am a bit of a film nerd. I apologize.
No, don't be. I mean,
If someone says like, "Oh, what film did it?" I'm like, and then like I'll say it, and it's like, "Oh my god, what?"
That's it. I'm gonna test you.
Oh no! Oh god!
But Pulp Fiction's also one of those movies that's like a legendary type film.
Oh yeah, that's what kind of shot Tarantino to fame. Like, I know he already did like Reservoir Dogs, but like that movie is what kind of got him to fame. Like,
but to kind of go back with the stuff with the principal, I think it was just like the fact. I think also had he not been a principal, I think would have hit the creeper factor less too, to where it was. I didn't like it. Plus, when he's digging the hole, the kid that's fighting him is not the kid that he just killed. Meaning he's killed more than he's killing kids.
Yeah.
And
it was a clown.
Yeah, and I'm saying with Bill, like, it just felt a little unsettling and unnecessary. Like, when it comes to when the later stories with the kids, that didn't bother me as much because it was supernatural kids killing kids. But this is a serial killer who works at a school who has trust with these kids killing kids, and that hits too close to home in some aspect. I did not like it.
Yeah, there's a victimization going on.
Yeah.
And which again, in horror movies, you have victims, right? I mean, that's just part of the language of horror movies. But for some reason, and I wish I had more brain space to actually really examine what about it bugged me. And it could just be the fact that it was kids, and and the fact that it was like mid 2000s. Again, for me personally, punching down. But how horror movies have victims, right? That's part of how it works.
Yeah.
For some reason, this one just really was not as fun as the movie was trying to portray it. And I was not in on the joke. And when you're not in on the joke, in the joke part of your horror comedy, it's kind of you lost half your.
No, yeah. And if you're not in the joke, then it feels annoying and fucking obnoxious. Like, well, this is just fucking annoying. Like, I don't feel like I'm in on anything, and I'm trying to get in on it, and now I feel like I'm trying too hard to get in on it. Because like that's been like my life. Like there were so many times where like it's like, oh, I don't understand this, but I'll try to get into it, and when I do, it's like now I just feel like I'm trying too fucking hard.
Ken, do you have any thoughts about this first one with the psycho principal?
Well, okay, like I get where everybody's coming from here, and unfortunately, we have had a really gruesome, like almost 2 decades worth of horrible incidents involving people that you're supposed to be able to trust.
Yeah.
That probably plays a big part.
God.
Well, watching this today with the weight of history on your shoulders, it's not a good time. It also doesn't help that this movie had a producer by the name of Bryan Singer.
No! God damn it! Ugh.
I know that name for some reason. I don't know why I know that name.
X-Men for one.
Yeah. Look, be careful if you look him up, because, and it's pisses me off even more, because he's a queer dude, and I'm like, God fucking damn it, you piece of shit. Like, the way to ruin it for other queer people. Great, as if we don't have enough scrutiny against us.
Yeah. X-Men 2, also the 1997 lawsuit, the 2014 lawsuit and allegations, the 2017 lawsuit, and the 2019 allegations.
I had no idea. I had no idea he was crapulence. Oh, did he do The Usual Suspects?
He also his last, I think his last movie before like every fucking thing came out against him was the Queen biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but he did Usual Suspects, Apt Pupil, which God, I fucking love that movie. But like he's done a lot of great movies. Yeah. Also done a lot of bad things.
Yeah, that makes it harder.
It does.
And like that is a weight that this movie carries with it as well. That said, Stephen Wilkins isn't killing Charlie because he's a kid who wants to, or he's a principal because he wants to kill kids. He's killing Charlie because he's disrespecting Halloween.
Yeah.
So like, not a great reason to kill somebody.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Really not.
I think it's also like when there's a whole joke leading up to it as he's burying the bodies where this son's like, can we carve the jack-o'-lanterns? I don't want to do the eyes. And then
that
was
a good impression.
When it finally pans to it, it's just it bothered me.
I get it. Okay, so basically, Steven kills the kid, puts him in the ground. There's a whole exchange between the next door neighbor, which we will see the other side of later in the movie.
Good. That's a good story.
Exchange.
But interestingly enough, there was a deleted scene from this story in which Billy Wilkins, the kid, Steven asked him how trick-or-treating went, and Billy's screaming from his window, "And it was fine, but some fat bastard took all my candy."
Oh, no.
So it just kind of further explains that Charlie is not a great little bastard.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Charlie.
look, having the phrase fat bastard come out of that kid's mouth was absolutely adorable, just like when he called Charlie Brown an asshole.
Kids cussing is a delight sometimes.
That's like the only thing I found funny about the Charlie Brown's an asshole comment was like this little kid saying it, because otherwise, like, why is Charlie Brown an asshole? Like, when has Charlie Brown ever been an asshole? Like, I don't
Because
get
Charlie
that.
Brown makes his problems everybody else's problems.
Yeah, okay, all right, I got that.
I got feelings about Charlie Brown sometimes.
I don't know, like, it's not that like I'm like a fanboy of like Peanuts, but like I don't know, there's like certain things that people get on about Peanuts where I'm like, when has that ever happened? Like, are you sure you're not just projecting or something, or like I don't know?
Possibility.
Well, Kyle, if you want to see a bunch of Peanut statues throughout a city, come to Minneapolis, St. Paul someday. We have a whole bunch of them, actually.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we have Charlie Brown, Lucy, Snoopy, and I don't know what else.
We used to have a Camp Snoopy, too, but that's...
The only Peanuts thing that like ever puzzles me is the fact that like, why the fuck were the Peanuts kids mascots for life insurance? Like, of all like the kid things you could think of, like I get Chex Mix, like yeah, okay, Chex Mix. That like everyone loves Chex Mix, okay, and then like whatever, but then like life insurance? What the fuck? Like, what kid is gonna be like, yeah, life insurance? Like, they're kids. Like, what?
Charlie Brown.
Because the boomers that grew up with reading Peanuts when it came out were in the life insurance age bracket.
Yeah, okay, good point.
But like, I get that Steven's punishing Charlie for ruining Halloween for everybody, for disrespecting the traditions. And tradition is really a big point in this story.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly talking about things that his dad did and his grandpa did. Like, this is a father handing tradition down to his son. And yeah, they're not great traditions.
No,
Like
they're
tradition. I suppose everyone has some sort of tradition.
Yeah, but hopefully they don't involve killing other people.
Well,
Yeah.
yours don't, do they?
They do not.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Are you sure, Mike? Is there a secret
pretty
life to the
sure.
Is there a secret life to the podcaster you're not talking about? That like when you're
There's not
done
enough
hanging out
time.
with Tiff and you're not doing everything else, you don't secretly sneak out of the house and go murder people?
But-
Possibilities here. I'm at work all
Wow.
day and I have no idea what he does.
Wow! Oh my god!
Also, again, not to defend Steven, really, but it's not just Charlie he's poisoning. He's poisoning everybody that comes to his house.
Yep.
Oh, I
Yep.
did not catch that.
Like-
all the candy.
everybody.
There's poison in the candy. There's razor blades in the candy. This is the first story where we see Sam, the adorable little burlap guy with the orange romper.
I love Sam so much.
He's basically the spirit of Halloween, but he
Yeah.
takes a holly ho candy bar from the bowl.
Yep.
That candy bar is a special tool that will help us later. But like, he's not right. And when you cast Dylan Baker in this role, somebody watched Happiness.
Yeah, I had such happiness vibes as I was like, someone indeed watched Happiness. Has anyone else seen that
I have
movie?
not. I have not.
Okay.
Hey, don't.
Okay.
That is really the best thing I can say is don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't waste
Like,
your time.
if you got some, it's not a waste of time. It's a
No.
brilliantly made movie, but it is uncomfortable.
Okay.
It is the definition of squirm. It is just Squirm the movie. Squirm the indie film.
Like, which type of like squirm is it? Like,
Not good squirm.
is
Oh,
it
not good.
Solo?
Squirm.
Is it Solo squirm? Is it the skin I live in squirm? Like, which one?
It's this story squirm,
Okay, gotcha. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
except not
Glad
murder.
I understood that.
Okay.
All right, then should we go to the second story?
Well, we never talked about the end.
Yeah.
The end
Oh, we're
where,
circling around.
No, you're talking
Billy's-
about the.
the end of this story.
I
Oh.
see.
Billy's been asking for help with the jack-o'-lantern, and he can't get the eyes. So there's a moment where you think Steven's going to kill Billy.
Oh God, yes.
I was like, oh, great.
Like, you think that's going to happen. But no, he's just being
good
momentarily annoyed in the moment, but then helps his son carve out the eyes of the head of the child he just killed. That's their pumpkin. That's their tradition. Yikes. Big oof. F in the chat.
F in the chat. Oh my God.
Big oof indeed.
Big oof.
That was literally, I think that was my emotion. I think you nailed it, Ken. Oof. That was kind of, but not in like a oof or oof. Just
Not in a good way.
no, just oof. Just oof. That is the most I can muster for like this. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to Opie and Anthony next. Is that's what's happening?
Oh
Huh?
no, Opie and
Good
Anthony,
Lord.
Jesus
Now it's
Christ.
got to be man cow in the morning, baby.
Man cow, not man cow. How dare you summon that name back in its box, man cow.
Hey, that was
Bark.
my high school. All right.
Man cow. Oh my god, oh boy.
Speaking of unfunny edgelords,
That was a good segue. I
you
guess.
said Opie and Anthony. I'm like, yeah, unfunny edgelords.
Oh Lord. Anyway,
Where have we gone?
that's pretty much the end of this first story.
Second story, I liked better.
It has Anna Paquin in it.
No, that's the third story.
Oh, is it?
I like that one the best. The second story,
Shut
what?
Yeah, well.
Wow, you know it's Anna Paquin. She is
Yeah.
not.
Yes, she is. The second story is the Halloween school bus massacre one, is what it's called.
This is the one that I could see people having the most problem with.
This was a hard watch for me as well. I don't know.
It's a hard watch, but it fits. There were certain, like, I don't like the fact that they use the R word because I really, really don't like when things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Don't
I mean-
watch the deleted scenes. Just don't.
Oh,
I'm not going to.
I
I want to watch.
They
I did not
cut
want to spend-
more. No, they cut more of that scene, which use that word a lot more.
Oh, I
it's
don't
just-
like that.
I mean, back in 2008, I would have used it too, but
Mhm.
you know, like I did, like, well, maybe not 2008, 2006, 2005,
Yeah, okay.
for sure. But like, then I grew up and got smarter. But like,
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
didn't appreciate it in here. But the reason, I mean, this one's a tough watch, but the reason I had less problem with it because it fits the idea of supernatural killing the characters. So it's partly their own fault. So it hits differently than something else because they were seeking out it, not believing in it, and then it turns out that it's real. So that's a little different for me. But yeah, it's a bit hard too because it's kids being murdered again.
Mhm.
And not only just kids being murdered, which again, it's a horror movie, right? I can't clutch my pearls that much when it comes to like
Yeah.
deaths and
Yeah.
dismemberments and killings. However, again, we're talking about complete victims with no recourse. You're looking at a school bus of children that the neighborhood doesn't want, right? So we all know what they're
was hard,
talking
too.
about.
Yeah,
They're being
Mhm.
chained to a bus. You can't see their faces, which adds an air of which is chilling in itself. And right, thank God I didn't see their faces. That's the last thing I would need to see in my fun horror comedy.
Yeah,
My
no
horror
kidding.
comedy. Ho! Give me that knee, you. Let's go
Yeah,
chain
yeah.
some children to a school bus and drown them. It's
Fuck disabled kids. Let's kill them. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
great.
like
and it's this tonal thing that just really didn't work for me. And this makes me sound like a stick in the mud sometimes. I understand that. And again, a lot of this could be personal line, but when you're not in on the joke and you don't dig the
Yeah.
joke, half
No,
of your
exactly.
joke movie doesn't work. So
Exactly.
for
exactly.
me, you know, again, and also, you know what, I actually had flashbacks, like you said, Mike, where like you probably would have laughed at that at the R word. You're exactly right. I had eras in my life where I would have laughed at that too. And
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about those eras of my
I
life
think-
when I had that level of crapulence in me. I like to
that
think
played a
I
part.
am
In why my opinion of this movie was a little different too. Well, I think with this one too, like I wasn't even thinking about the bus part. I think about what happened to the other kids. No, the bus kids, they don't deserve it. As like you can also tell that the one is like autistic or something, where he's reading the
Mhm.
numbers and he's just like, I want to
Yeah.
go home. I want to go
it's
home.
literally
Yeah.
saying wrong turn, wrong way. Yeah. I mean it's
Like-
really
It's a little hard to watch. I felt for me in 2024,
Yeah, I get it.
but I mean, that part bothered me, but when it comes to what happens to the other kids, that didn't bother me because that's supernatural killing you. So
Yeah.
those are the ones that they kind of walked into it because the lead girl's bitchy and she's like, hey, we're gonna go here where this school bus massacre happened and kick some jack-o'-lanterns in there in honor of them. And in all honesty, if they wouldn't have played a trick on Rhonda, their asses would have been fine.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, they wouldn't. I got a theory.
What is it? I want to hear.
Ooh.
I think those kids would have been fine if they hadn't kicked the pumpkin into the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the
Yeah,
fire.
you're probably right.
It's the disrespect of the holiday. And that is a theme that carries throughout this entire movie, along with the simple 4-word compound phrase, no salvation, no forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they need to kick it into the water? Why not just put them down there in honor?
Because they didn't believe.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they had to die.
That's why they had to die.
It is like when they go down the mine shaft and they gotta go down this little elevator, my brain was going, why does the elevator even have power still? Like, wouldn't you turn off the power? Like, why is it? And why does she have the keys? But that's just me being me.
When I do that, you hate it, but when you do it, it's okay.
Of course.
Jerk.
So,
Wow. Be nice, Mike.
Yeah,
Be nice,
but-
Mike. Be nice to your wife, please.
oh, I am. Don't worry.
No, I know, but still, like, just like, don't do that type of stuff to your wife. Like, just, I don't know, like, be nice to your wife, please.
You hear it.
And like Rhonda very clearly is likely autistic as well.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like you can absolutely tell
Yeah.
Halloween is her special interest
Yeah, exactly.
because she knows everything about it.
Yeah,
And
Not to get murdered.
that too.
Yeah.
so like for this prank to be pulled on her is double insulting to the memory of
Yeah.
those kids that perished
Mm-hmm.
in the bus crash.
Yup.
So
Mhm.
of course they're going. Everybody involved in this prank is going to die.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of my favorite stories in the movie. Just because, I love what the kids are going trick-or-treating and they go to Mrs. Henderson's house and they see things that they shouldn't see.
Yeah,
Remember,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson, we're not done with her yet.
that was my
But
favorite.
that was actually a very funny.
That was, yes.
That made me chuckle. That lightened it up for me. That tone. And again, we're all talking about tone. I'm talking about tone about we're talking about tone quite a bit here, and
Yeah.
this one worked for me. This one does like, okay,
Mhm.
you stumbled across an orgy, young people. Oh no. You never forget your first time you stumble in
Orgy.
on one. So
You never forget your first time witnessing an orgy.
no. I mean, I don't know.
Are you speaking from experience?
No.
Okay.
No.
She sounded very convincing.
I know I was. I was doing it on purpose.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's just, especially when you're younger, you're like, what the fuck? And that was fine. Like, that humor didn't bother me. I think I maybe chuckled a little bit, but I was just kind of annoyed with the movie at the time, so.
Yeah, I get it.
No chuckles to be found.
Okay.
I think I think the favorite line in here for me is when they were trying to make sense of what they saw at the orgy. And
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
Jim
I love that.
says, I think that was Coach Taylor in a hot dog costume, butt fucking a pig, I think.
Wow.
Like,
The fact that none of us chose that as our opening line is an opportunity squandered. That is,
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe no one wanted to ruin it. Like,
I
guess maybe
get
not.
surprised.
I didn't want to
Spoiler
start
alert.
the show with butt fucking.
Yeah. Does anybody want to start
Fair.
a podcast about and say like butt fucking in it? Like, come on, like, hey
Well-
guys, welcome. Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. We're going to talk about the 2007 Trick or Treat movie. Oh yeah, by the way, butt fucking.
And then the other thing with the bus is that they talk about the bus driver escaped.
Yeah, the bus driver escaped and he's wheezing like a bat.
Yep.
Remember that?
oh boy, is
We'll
he.
know.
Yep.
You'll see him again too.
Yep.
But I had two questions. One, like, well, because the kids are all handcuffed in the bus. Like, was he gonna push the bus into the quarry before, or was he gonna poison them? That's what I was wondering too. That's neither here nor there. But I was like, what is his plan?
If I had to guess, he was probably going to slip in a neutral and push it over the edge.
Okay, because they are all handcuffed in.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's only gonna
Until-
stay in it.
Until the vampire wiggles his way out at no small cost to himself. Those cuffs are covered with blood when he's done.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
You didn't
Yeah.
notice his hands covered in blood either?
No.
Like he took a lot of damage getting out of those. And unfortunately it didn't really help.
No, you just
But,
made me sad.
But why did they, with the other kid, with the present day kids, why did they bring Rhonda? Just because they need another jack-o'-lantern? Or
Just because they wanted to play a prank on her, probably because they don't like her, because little kids are bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's fair.
Look at
And that
them.
rang true to me too. I didn't obviously like, but this is the movie actually doing it properly. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to understand that they're not bringing this kid along because they want her to be part of the group. When they play the prank on her, you're supposed to now loathe these children and want them to die a horrible death, which they do. So all that payoff works in this, and that's kind of like Creepshow too, because Creepshow is a lot of really bad people getting their comeuppance, and that's a good thing. And this happens here. So I actually didn't mind this section. Again, I think I wrote in my notes, I was like, with 50% more kid dying, but in this situation, they are utter garbage, and they don't deserve to die. But I mean, they deserve to be punished for their sins.
Well,
I'm-
they are.
They were.
I'm not
They
here
are.
to victim blame, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
blame.
Well, to be fair, these are also hypothetical victims. Or fictional
Exactly.
victims.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess-
Hypothetical.
Maybe not hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
story at the end of the day, and it very much serves the same purpose as the old Tales from the Crypt comics, just like Creepshow. It's a morality play.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Except the morals on trial here are: do you or do you not respect Halloween? Because I got to tell you, anybody who doesn't respect Halloween, not going to have a great time.
No, a creepy child in a burlap sack mask will stalk you, and that's what will happen. And I think that's one of the I think you just kind of hit on a piece of it that for a reason why it didn't work as well for me as I think it did for others is the stakes on which these things are happening are extremely low. Ooh, I'm cranky about Halloween. I don't like giving out candy. I don't like decorating my house in pumpkins because my mother-in-law is going to come over and freak out. Way different than like some of the other stakes that cause this. We're talking at the end of the day, being a little cranky about Halloween because your doorbell gets rang by strangers. Smashing a jack-o'-lantern should not be enough to warrant the death and demise of 3 children, regardless of their crapulence levels, which is insanely high at this point. So I think that might be a piece of it for me too, as we're kind of discussing it. But yeah.
Hey, just a quick question to everybody, since, like everyone's been talking about this and like, y'all been sharing your views on this movie and just your thoughts and your criticisms. Have you seen any of the other films from Michael Dougherty? Like, have you seen Krampus or like any of I believe he did a couple of Godzilla movies too. Have any of y'all seen any of those films?
Yeah.
I've not seen Krampus. I know people really like it, and I would like to
Krampus
see
is
that.
so fun. It's
Yeah.
honestly, I would say it's even better than this. Like, it's a bit more well thought out, and like the characters I think are a lot better, and like everything this movie does well, Krampus does so much better.
Okay, I am actually interested. I remember when it first came out. Like, ooh, this looks really fun and good, but just never got around to
save
it.
it for Christmas. Like, please
Tis
save it
the
for
season.
Christmas. Yeah.
Ho, ho.
Like, get some Christmas cookies, get your favorite Christmas snacks, and like a good drink, and there you go. Tuck in, like.
So Mike Dougherty also co-wrote X2, widely considered to be the best of the Fox X-Men movie.
Yes.
And Superman Returns, which, rip.
It's a fine movie.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Superman fan, so.
But then he got this.
I'm off and on with Superman. I do love the character, though. Sorry.
And then after this, 6 years later, was Krampus. Then he co-wrote and directed both Godzilla King of Monsters and co-wrote Godzilla vs. Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done some good work. He also used to be an animator on Blue's Clues.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Blue's Clues, I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm done.
But like he's gotten stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
There was a graphic novel put out for this, which is great.
Which you have.
I do have.
Oh.
I do.
You're talking to me.
But like there's also a Krampus graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
So he's fine. He's doing fine. So like he has a very specific energy in his movies. And I don't think he really came into it all here, if that makes sense.
No, I get you.
Mike just muted me for like 5 minutes.
It wasn't
Wow.
I muted both of us. So I was opening a beer.
That's just weird. Rude.
So.
That's just rude.
Mike, don't be rude to your wife. God, seriously.
Right? See, I have some backup around here.
But we should go back to the Halloween School Bus Massacre. Macy, Chip, Schrader, and Sarah, the 4 little ass bastards, bring Rhonda. They leave.
That
8
sounds like a new
jack-o'-lanterns.
monster from the Tremors series. I'm sorry. Like it does.
Probably
Ass
is.
bastards.
The group splits up. Rhonda gets separated from everybody, is pursued by everybody in horrible masks, supposedly being the kids that died in the accident. And they weren't. Rhonda just has a hard time of it. And goddamn, like, I feel so bad for Rhonda.
I agree.
She was just trying to help them.
Yeah, and she was trying to be friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was looking for connection on Halloween.
Yeah, those kinds of kids don't make friends like that.
Yeah. And, Schrader tries to come around, but no
Too
salvation, no forgiveness.
Too late.
Once you transgress, you're on the list because the actual drowned children who are actual zombies come out of the lake and attack the teens as Rhonda rides the elevator up, waving goodbye to them. Cold-blooded.
Yep. Which is a great that is a good moment of child vengeance. And again, that one, I don't know if I like this one the best of them. I really like the Brian Cox stuff because Brian Cox is a treasure who I just enjoy him having fun in movies. But yeah, this is good. I'm getting an immediate payoff for my crapulence. And again, I like this. It is cold. She's cold-bloodedly giving her that hand wave, like bye-bye.
Do you think she knew that they were going to get murdered? Because she also doesn't have her glasses either because they got broken, so she can't really see.
I don't think she knew that it was going to happen, but I think she knew that that was a real deal because Rhonda knows so much about Halloween that she knows what bad stuff could happen. So she's not surprised by this happening, which is why she freaks out less when the actual dead kids show up than when the people dressed in costumes do.
And she also, I forgot to go and rewatching if we're talking. She also tells them you're all going to hell, or you're all gonna be dead for this after they pull the prank on her. So
yeah, well, they deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking, why don't you start climbing that fucking tower, the elevator thing? I'd be trying to climb.
Well, she fell and hit her head.
Well, not her, but I mean, when she takes the elevator up, I would have jumped and hung on that damn elevator.
They didn't have time.
Yeah, it was.
The zombies were too close by that point.
They got chains
because they were waiting for Rhonda to open the elevator, and she said, "Nah, bitch."
Bye.
So it was a fitting end. And then Rhonda and Sam share a little, nod.
As she walks off with her one jack-o'-lantern in the wheelbarrow.
Yep, because
that's all you need.
She respects it. And Sam's like, all right, game recognized game. Good job.
Good job.
I do like how you do see Sam all over the place throughout this. Like, he's almost everywhere.
I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's great.
He's so cute.
So do we know how Sam, he's just the spirit of Halloween? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Essentially, yeah. The physical manifestation of the spirit of Samhain.
And then that brings us to the third story, which I enjoyed, and then closed on myself just now.
Thanks.
I did. I just closed the tab by accident when I was trying to click on it.
Now, this is easily the horniest story.
Yeah.
The surprise part. Oh, my God, this is.
It's no Hellraiser.
No, but I liked this horny story.
Mm-hmm. The half-naked girls didn't...
It didn't hurt it, no. And I just really like Anna I can't say her name. Yeah.
Paquin.
I like her.
I don't care for Anna Paquin. Never have. Except in this.
Oh. Well, there we go.
Something... We'll get to that part in the story, but... Anna Paquin is with her older sister and her friends, and they're trying on costumes to go to this party. So everybody's picking up a date, and Anna Paquin is doing the first time blues shuffle. And, they want to help her find a date. She wants to find her own date, which, fine. But then things go badly, very badly.
Oh, they do.
Because during that, we also see that there is a vampire menacing the town. Vampire cleans out one lady who, according to deleted backstory, was a librarian. So this was like her first time cutting loose, and this is what happened.
And he just dumps her, and people just think she's drunk.
I mean, that is fitting for the
Halloween
environment. People would think that.
I suppose.
I mean, I don't agree with it, but I'm saying that, like, I can see it.
Yeah.
Very much like, it's not our problem.
Everything's like that these days.
Yes.
Oh, someone's screaming at 2 a.m.? That's not our problem.
Nope.
What? I just gotta look.
So I thought he was a vampire. Like, I thought it was actually a vampire that's stalking these women, because you see the fake fangs, or what you think are real fangs, and he's biting her, and it made sense to me too.
It didn't make sense because she was bleeding all over, and you just see him bite her neck.
Oh no, he bit like her wrists and
Did he?
all over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
the place.
Oh yeah.
I didn't pay attention. I guess I was falling asleep.
You were falling asleep. It's very.
Leave me alone.
You see him like kissing her, and then later on, then she reacts to everything that happened.
Yeah, like he went to town.
Yeah.
He was going for it.
So did he kill her?
Oh yeah, she did.
Okay.
He very did, yes. He just deposits her amongst the other revelers in town. That's fine. Just everyone else who has been under the influence. That's good. And moves on his merry way.
Yeah, but I was thinking about it. What about tomorrow when the cops get involved and do DNA and find all your DNA all over her? But then again, that's a different movie. So.
But would he ever be in the system? He's like,
oh,
they would only find him if he's in the system.
good point.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I thought so.
That's what my brain went to. It's like, well, do you really want to leave all your DNA all over?
No,
her?
they probably wouldn't even test her, to be honest.
Okay. But I just like it because throughout this movie, as the story plays out, because this story takes a little bit before it comes to fruition, where you see the girls, like you were saying, trying to get a date, and you make comments like, she's still a virgin at 22, and it's just like, but there's that one part when she's walking by herself while they're already at the party spot, and that's when she gets attacked by who I thought was a vampire earlier.
No, Lori does get attacked in the woods. We think that she's done for. Later at the party, body falls out of the tree wearing Lori's cape. We all assume Lori's done for, and this vampire is going to mess up this party. Nope.
Not to be.
There was one part that makes more sense once you understand what's going to happen, where the Cinderella, her older sister, who's dressed up as Cinderella, she's like, oh, hey, I got a guy for you. He's nice. And it's a guy dressed up as a big baby. And I mean, I was like, well, that's what you really want her to be her first time, but it wasn't sex, it was dinner.
Well, see, fun fact about that big baby, that was the large child from 13 Ghosts. Same person that played that one.
Oh.
So that's a nice little, oh, hey, that guy.
I've seen that movie once, many years ago.
You're old. We get it.
And maybe this was my cynicism at the movie poking through, but I really knew very early on that these three ladies of the evening were not, these costumed friends, were not. I thought they were vampires. I did not see werewolves coming, but I'm like, oh, they're just gonna try to lure doofy guys to a thing and feed on them, and I was actually all for that. I'm like, that's great. That's a fun trope.
Girl power.
But the movie didn't. But the movie didn't trick me in that one. So I that's more of just me patting myself on the back for being a astute moviegoer.
Yeah,
But
I was tricked. I was 100% tricked.
Nah, I didn't see werewolf coming. I didn't see
anything coming.
I didn't see pulling their skin, taking their clothes off, and then pulling their skins off. I did not see that coming.
No,
but
that was a good part though. I liked it.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, it turns out everybody's werewolves. You do see Mrs. Henderson rolling Coach in this hot dog costume.
Mm-hmm.
So Mrs. Henderson, the orgy lady, was a werewolf too.
Oh.
Yes.
Yep.
I didn't catch that.
I caught that. That was fun. Well, as soon as I saw a hot dog costume, that brilliant line came to mind. So I was like, oh, yes, there you are.
Look what butt fucking in a pig costume gets you.
But that part when Anna climbs on top of the guy and she's like, when she said that's my first time, it's just something about, don't, and then she like reaches up and her face starts to change. I'm just like, man, this is hot.
Oh my goodness.
It was.
Look.
Okay.
Look.
I'm-
Don't silence the man. He's right.
She knows. I don't know why she act like she doesn't know.
That
Like,
didn't know.
eh.
Do I need to dress up as a werewolf for Halloween?
No, but you can wear that outfit she was wearing.
I actually have that.
I don't know. It's something about the hair, the eyes, the teeth, the outfit. All of it works together, and I don't think Anna Paquin's ever been as hot as that moment.
I mean, it's pretty good. But then again, like it also reminded me when we talked about the witch, Ken, when you saw the vampire lady or the whatever the hell, the witch, and you're like, yep, little Ken be going right there too.
Yeah, little Ken, big Ken. I'm a simple man. I know it works, and they would have got me. These werewolves would have got me.
Oh, they would have got me. I would have went right. Depending on which mic it was, like, yeah, I would 100%. Especially like right before I met Tiff when I was very lonely and sad. Like, my ass. Like, all right, where are we going? All
They
right, sure.
can have you.
They would have had me just fine. Hey, I wouldn't be lonely anymore. I'd be dead. So, hey.
We should also point out that the vampire, of course, wasn't a vampire, but was actually our good friend, Stephen Wilkins.
Yes, which is a nice, which almost that demise almost too good for him. Almost too good. I mean, come on. And in the long pantheon of ways you can be murdered in a horror movie, that's not that bad. I mean, that's pretty up there. I don't know.
I mean,
Pretty
depends
good.
on how much there is before the biting. Yeah, it's not a bad way to go out.
Even still, I mean, I don't.
I mean, there's a lot of worse things that happen in horror movies. You are 100% right.
Yeah, he
I might
deserved
have
a
a-
lot worse than what he got, I think.
Getting eaten by a really sexy Anna Paquin? Yeah, I agree.
Them putting Marilyn Manson's cover of Sweet Dreams
I-
to this works.
It's a little on the nose. Okay, it's a lot on the nose. Oh boy. Like,
Yeah.
It's a broken nose. It's like a broken nose in Hereditary when he smashes his face on the desk. That's that kind of on the nose. But it was fine. Actually, I thought it was actually very cute. It was very, again, mid 2000s. I was
Yeah.
actually slightly charmed by like, that's all right. I'm
I
fine
would
with
have
that.
rather had the original, but Marilyn Manson version probably worked better because it has
Mhm.
more of a gruff tone to it, I think, than the one.
Yeah.
I only know the original.
Was originally scored to Fever by Peggy Lee. And I gotta say, I think Marilyn Manson works better in this one. And that was a studio note. That was like, hey, you need something more aggressive. What do you think about this song? The one time in history that a studio note has done good.
Yeah.
Wow,
Usually
mark it
studio
down.
notes should be burned at the stake.
Yeah.
No.
It worked. I mean, and having that gruff
I worked
tone
it.
of the song, some
liked
of
it.
them want to be used by you. Like, it just works.
Don't quit your day job, babe.
Yay.
I won't quit my day job or my night job. Don't worry. So, but no, I didn't mind it. I just like this part. I mean, I could have had a whole movie of this story, and I'd have been sold.
I don't know. I don't think it works as a whole movie.
I mean, it could. Depending on where you're going with it, but it could.
I feel like this was a good amount for this setup.
It was. I just like Anna Paquin.
And why have you never watched True Blood with me?
I did. We watched the whole series together.
No, we
Oh,
did.
Yes, we did.
Oh.
You were there.
Well, are you sure?
I'm positive.
I don't recall it.
That's not really fair because True Blood sucked.
I mean,
Hey, only the last seasons. Well, technically it did suck, but only the
like
last season was
after
bad.
Season 4.
I just thought the last season was bad. The rest was
The
good.
one before it was.
You mean the Lafayette show?
Oh,
I like Lafayette.
I love
Lafayette's the
Lafayette.
best character in that damn show.
I'm
Best
sad he passed
character.
away.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, that's pretty much that story.
Yep.
I mean,
I like this segment. I think the third segment's pretty good for what it is. The little twist at the end. I think a lot of people may have predicted it, but I thought it was really fun. And plus, Anna Paquin and her sisters and being monsters. Like, yeah, okay, I liked that. I really appreciated that.
it's what's that word? Fun. It's fun.
What's it?
Yeah, I mean, fun is right. There are other words you could use too, but we'll go with fun is the more accurate one.
Which brings us to the fourth story involving one Mr. Kriegs. Stephen Wilkins' next door neighbor, that asshole who was yelling through the fence.
I didn't realize who this actor was.
Ah,
The guy from Succession, the father.
Oh.
the guy who played Stryker in X2.
Oh yeah, Brian Cox. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
the guy who's played almost everything in everything.
Pretty much.
He is one of the premier character actors in Hollywood, and I love Brian Cox. He's great in all the Bourne movies. I like those movies quite a bit. He's great in the movie Adaptation. Does he play the screenwriting teacher? Is that great monologue in there? It's very good.
Isn't he always the bad guy though? No.
It depends. Like he's not always the bad guy. Like he's been a bad guy in a few things.
He was the police chief in Super Troopers.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if that's much better.
He was a good guy in that though.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing is his look.
Oh yeah.
In this,
Just
like the long stringy hair.
Haggard old. I like to just simply call him haggard old fuck.
No, that's fair.
He requested that look.
No, I know. Like, and it worked for his character too. Like, yeah.
He has such a good time in this role.
Yeah.
Like, I love when actors are having a good time, and he is enjoying his experience on the set of Trick or Treat.
I especially love what happens to him. I'm not going to say I'm going to let y'all, go ahead and explain the story, but yeah.
See, Brian Cox wanted that particular look with the prosthetics and the hair because he wanted to look like John Carpenter.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Oh.
He pulls it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a brilliant bit of business because you're having a movie, you're playing an old man on Halloween.
Yep.
What better old man to be on Halloween than the man whose name is synonymous with Halloween?
Yep.
And who is very grumbly about that movie series.
Yep. Can you, I don't know, not to be a fucking dick or like a kiss ass, but like, can you blame him though? Like, considering how many bad sequels there are of that fucking franchise? Like, no, I'd be like, no, you know what? I'm a little disheveled. But like, he was a good enough sport to come back and compose the soundtracks for a ton of those movies. So it's not like he completely hated it or whatever. Like, it gets him a paycheck. It still gets him paychecks. And, he's like, you know what? I'll make some new music for it. Like, he didn't seem like, he's completely disheveled about it.
Nah, he's money.
Yeah.
That's pretty much his guy. Whatever keeps his bills paid so he can play video games and make music.
And smoke weed.
Yeah. Like, that's all he wants.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
It's cool though that's what they went for. I didn't put two and two together, but I really like that.
Yeah.
Like it's really not one of those things that you'll know unless you listen to the commentary on the Blu-ray.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did.
I did not.
I actually still haven't seen the Well, I still haven't listened to the commentary. I've seen this movie a few times though. I really should listen to it.
The commentary has some moments where you're like, oh yeah, this movie was made in 2007.
Yeah. Let me guess, they say the R word a lot more, or like what?
They do say it, not a lot more, but they talk about, the deleted scene that has the repeated use of it.
Yeah, okay.
Some of the things they say could be viewed as somewhat insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's still a very informative commentary. And I think this story works out really well. This is basically the Halloween version of A Christmas Carol with Scrooge.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that's fair.
Agreed.
Except, none of the ghosts tried to cut Scrooge up.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, we don't know. It could have happened later.
Oh, well, it wasn't Sam that did it, actually. Huh.
No, this is good. Like when it starts off, you see him throwing pictures in the fire into the fire, and I was thinking to myself, well, that's going to play a part in later. And then he, then he goes outside, and then it connects to the earlier story of Wilkinson where he's yelling at him. And in that part, he makes comments like, "Why get your kid out of my yard?" And I remember thinking that, like, wait, this kid's not in the yard. The kid's in the house, like you're supposed to think. And then, you realize that, then you get to see the whole story of what happened. And because what I was thinking about, was like, wait, because from when he's digging the hole, he says something to him. He goes in the house, and then when he gets done digging the hole, he's at the window. But like all the time that would have passed, it filled that hole back up.
Yeah.
It shows you that scene in between all that where he's fighting with Sam. And I think this is a good scene.
I agree.
Or a good story.
This is probably the story that makes the most use of the various timelines.
Yep.
Everything. Yep. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, like the kids that are running away from his house, You see that in another story. The end of it, you see in another story.
Yep.
You have a direct overlap with the Wilkins story. Like this one is, I think, the uniting piece, which is why technically it's last, but not quite last. It's really well done, and it's not out in the open. It's just in a house.
Yep.
Just one old guy with a shotgun against the physical embodiment of Halloween.
Yep.
That's gonna work out.
I mean,
He holds his own. He holds his own for
He
quite
does.
some time. I mean, did better than I would have. I would have just ran and screamed, bumped my head on something, and fallen. That's what I would
I
have.
almost started crying when I saw Sam get hurt. I'm like, no, you fucking bastard. How dare you? He's so cute.
I mean, he shoots Sam point blank range with a shotgun.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, no.
Yeah, but you also hear Sam go, woo!
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's having fun.
But, like, you almost hurt my precious little baby. No.
But Sam is trying to cut up Mr. Krieg. At one point, jabs him in the Achilles tendon.
Good.
Ah,
Good.
that always bugs me. That is an injury I never want to ever have. I mean, I don't want any injuries.
Same.
But that's one of those where, like, when someone cuts the tendon like that, and then people just fall like a sack of lemons. It's just, I don't know. That it's because not only have you been cut by something, which is never good.
Yeah.
You can't move. It's just so disempowering. That's one of those that gets me in my like, ugh, in a good way, like in a fun, like, ugh.
But like, I saw a lot of people online saying like, "Oh, how is he still walking?" It was a jab, like it was a little jab with a razor blade. It wasn't a cut.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't slice it.
It might not even hit him. It might have hit off to the side. But I did want to point out real quick that he is using the candy bar that Steven gave him to attack Mr. Krieg. Because there absolutely was a razor blade in that candy bar.
I hear a kitty cat.
Yes.
That one's not mine this time.
Record.
She want me to put down, but
Right, meow again. Come on.
Oh my god.
That was pretty good.
she was like, "I'm not gonna meow on command," and then nah.
So that
Sorry, you were
that
saying,
Holly-Ho candy bar that Wilkins gave him turned out to be the weapon that he used to mess up Krieg.
And let me just say, from a personal experience, we were told under no uncertain terms, before you eat your Halloween candy, observe the shit out of that Halloween candy. Go over it with a fine-tuned comb, because there are crazy people out there that will hide all sorts of things in your candy. And I promise you, I still have this urge to do that. I live in rather pleasant suburbia. No one's putting it. But actually, that's probably the place where people do it the most, actually.
Yeah.
I still can't. Like, I'm like, just make sure there's no like slits in it. I don't know. And I know it's irrational. I know it's a senseless fear.
Yeah.
But as it was drilled in my head so hard as a kid,
Same.
check your candy.
Yeah.
That, and the one little girl mentions UNICEF.
Oh, yeah.
And I
UNICEF.
remember having to wear those dopey UNICEF boxes around my neck, jingle jangling change as people put pennies and dimes into it. And I never got, obviously it's a charity, it's a good thing, but it never worked with my costume. And I would always walk around the neighborhood going, Batman wouldn't wear a freaking UNICEF. I was offended. I was offended by having to wear a UNICEF thing that clashed with my costume.
Batman would totally wear a UNICEF thing. He's Batman. He wants to help.
That's true. That's true.
Kind
Not my version of Batman.
My version of Batman was gay and would want to help everybody. Thank you, and rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Fair.
Anyway,
sorry. I sorry for the diversion.
Sorry.
I just,
No, it's fine. Sorry.
it was just when we quickly came up with the idea of putting evil things in candy bars. It's still something that I have to do. I'm like, I'm just
Yeah, I
it
getcha.
weirds me out.
were there actually lots of different scenarios with that happening?
Yeah. In my time, there was anyways.
Okay.
I don't know how much of that was urban legend or how much of it was real. I do remember one Halloween. We can just switch to Halloween. It is Halloween. We're releasing this on Halloween. I had one situation where I was in my grandfather's neighborhood, and we used to go to my grandfather's neighborhood because he lived in a much nicer area than I did. So we knew there were a few houses that gave away like full sizes. And, there were some really good gets on his neighborhood. So we would go to the fancy neighborhood for trick-or-treating. And there was like this one home where they invited us inside. And we did, like my brother and I walked inside. And I don't know if this is just like a weird malformed memory from my psyche or if this actually happened. I'm pretty confident this actually happened. But They like invited us inside, like, hey, why don't you go and grab an apple off the counter? Like,
Oh,
it was
no.
it was super weird. And to this day, obviously nothing happened. We escaped with our lives. But we actually had that happen, and that supposedly is one of those things. Never go into someone's house. We did, and lived to tell the tale.
Yay. Okay. Oh my God.
Like, I would just like to remind everybody that Charlie was killed because he didn't check his candy.
Yeah.
So,
point.
like,
Good point.
he deserved it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I am 100% team fuck them kids.
Wow, Mr. Now all of a sudden you're Mr. Fuck them kids, but like earlier you were like, oh, moralities.
No, I understand why people have a problem with it, but I don't fuck them.
If I were to be like team fuck them kids, it would be during Rhonda's story. Like, no, fuck them kids. They're a bunch of heartless little fucking assholes. Like, and like even their tribute, they're gonna kick jack-o'-lanterns into the thing. Like, fuck you, you're ruining perfectly good jack-o'-lanterns, you little shit.
I mean, just leave them out, though. Nature will take care of them.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
exactly.
doing with,
fuck you.
we have a pumpkin that we bought that she just wants the seeds, and after
They fucking of all the fucking shitty things too, they call Rhonda the R word. Like, no, fuck you. You guys are fucking little pieces of shit. Fuck you. You deserved everything that you got.
I like how he almost kills Sam, but he doesn't destroy the one like human hand that puts them back together.
Mhm.
I thought that was good too.
Yeah.
Look, Sam was never gonna die.
No,
Yeah,
because
good.
he's a mystical creature.
Yeah. And he's a little sweet baby, and he should be protected always. And if any of you try to hurt him in front of me, I will fucking fight you right now. Come on.
I think it's a good, like, the way it ends where he bites the candy bar, so we see it where it has the sucker has like the bladed part.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he stabs him in the heart, but it stabs the candy bar, and then he just leaves. But there's, to go back to what we were saying that I just remembered, at one point when he spills the bucket of candy down the stairs, there's razor blades and all sorts of stuff that come down with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all sorts of madness coming down from there.
Yeah, like the idea of, like you were talking about, Bill, check your candy. Like my mother's is a paranoid person.
I was like, what?
So paranoid. And like I remember her doing that to me too. Like I don't think I checked my candy that much, but it was always like that thing. But my favorite, like, people are gonna put their drugs. Like, no one's giving away drugs. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
Razor blades,
Drugs
maybe.
are too fucking. The last thing I'm gonna do with my fucking expensive mental medications is give them to some punk ass little fucking kids. Like, no, fuck
Nobody's
you.
giving out.
Get your mommy or daddy to buy you drugs, you little shit.
Nobody's giving away drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck.
I do like how he leaves them there, and then like the old man has the renewal of Halloween, and he gives some kids candy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bandaged up.
Yeah, and they're like, "Great mummy costume," and he's like, And then it's the second time he answers the door when it's the kid. And then this, I think it's right before this. It shows the fireplace with the picture burning.
Mm-hmm.
He was the bus driver, and then at the door are the kids that died in the bus.
Yeah.
That come to murder him.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yep.
And that is how the movie ends. But we still got one more story to talk about.
Yes.
Yes, please. Let's go.
Yep. We have that wraparound story, nice little wraparound story following Emma and Henry.
Mm-hmm.
A couple. Henry is dressed as Buck Rogers for some reason.
Oh, that's what it was?
And
He's the one who hates Halloween and the big ass robot costume.
yeah, like Emma does not like Halloween, does not respect Halloween.
Yeah.
But Henry very much does. He's like, hey, don't blow out that jack-o'-lantern yet. You got to leave him lit. And she's like, no, you're dumb. Go away.
Go watch your porno.
Yeah.
Well, she says put on the movie, and then she's like, I'll go meet you. But that's when I was like, it's going to take a while to take down all those decorations.
Well, okay. But like, she's only taking him down because her mom is coming.
Yeah.
Right.
So in this
I
case,
thought it was her mother-in-law.
I think it's her mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, it's her
Yeah, I
mom.
think it was her mom, yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that is. Oh, fuck.
So like, she's the one that has the problem. So yeah, you know what? I'm fine making her do the work. I'm sorry, your mom doesn't like Halloween. She doesn't get to come over.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Fuck
mean,
her.
to be fair,
It's the promise of sex. You get that thing down, but that's a different mindset. He was going to get sex anyway until she got hung up as a scarecrow.
We don't want to hear about your dirty mindset.
You do it.
Yeah, Mike, come
Welcome
on.
to the podcast.
Come on.
He comes on here quite often.
Oh, my God.
As Emma's taking down the Halloween decorations, Sam jumps up, kills her with the lollipop that he was going to stab Krieg with, and just hangs her up as essentially a Halloween scarecrow, as a message, a warning.
It is cool how it wraps around.
Yeah, like it's a good wraparound story, and like we said earlier, you do see Sam and Emma pop up in like every other story.
Yeah, and I want to say right around this time, you see in the car, you see the girls from earlier drive by, all laughing after their werewolf kills. You see Rhonda with her wheelbarrow, like everything connects.
Yep. And if you are watching the very beginning of the movie where the Sam and Emma story starts, you see there's a kid in a white mask across the street, and you see a group of trick-or-treaters just on their way out of frame. Those are the kids that just killed Mr. Krieg.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh
one of
my
these
God.
days, I'm going to work out the timeline for this movie.
Good.
I was thinking about doing it this time, but then I was just like, nah, I don't care that much. Nobody else is going to either.
No. I mean, I appreciate the
would've
thought.
cared.
I was
Yeah.
a little curious. I kind of put a little bit of it together, but
Mhm.
again, this is a movie that I think if I would have watched it twice before this recording, I would have had a better opinion.
Maybe if I would have watched it at all, I would have had a lot more to say.
Yes. You still made it. That's what matters.
I still
Mhm.
wanted to be with you guys for
Aw.
like
Aw.
We're so happy to have you. Like I said, I was so excited to hear your thoughts on Sam, if you thought he was cute or not. Because I'm like,
adorable.
and I'm so happy you said that too. Because I'm not the only one then. Hooray! I'm not a psychopath. Woo.
I do want to give special props in this movie to Quinn Lord, the peeping Tom in the costume store.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sam.
Also played Sam.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's why Sam walks so creepily, is because he's an actual child in that costume.
Yep.
So, like, getting an actual kid to play him just added a little bit of extra creepiness to it. There are a few people from 6 Feet Under in this show.
Mhm.
Tamo Pennicott, guy who plays Henry from Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
So, like, you got a bunch of people. You got some X-Men folks in here doing their best. It's a pretty jam-packed movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go to Shelf Stacker Box?
Sure.
I'll lead us in, since we'll get the negative out of the way. I mean, after us talking about it, my opinion of it is better, so I'm going to put it in the stack.
Okay.
Originally it was a box, but after our conversation and realized some of the things I missed, I think if I watch it again, I think I'd appreciate it more. So you made me look in a little better light, and I still have my issue with it, but it's going to go in the stack. It wasn't terrible. And Bill.
You know, it's interesting. I was kind of wavering on this one because, again, like I said, I really tried to not put my own personal tastes. But as we've talked about it more and more, and as we've kind of like discussed it, no, this is definitely in the box. I have no interest in seeing this ever again. And I just, not for me. It's too much of its era, and I did not have the good time I was hoping for. This is no creep show. Creep show. And I'm sure Ken would agree that this is no creep show, considering Creep Show is his favorite movie of all time. So this is just in the box for me for all the reasons I stated. Just not my cup of blood-soaked tea.
Okay. And Kyle.
Now, this might seem a little odd because I know, like, quite a bit earlier, too, I was, like, really praising this movie and I said I loved it. And I do. I'm still going to go back to my hot take. Well, I guess, I don't know if you could call it a hot take. And the fact that I said that I feel like the 2000s have actually aged worse than the 80s or the 90s. And I know that's, like, I feel like a lot of people would probably be like, Kyle, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because, like, the 80s and the 90s were way longer ago. So, of course, they would automatically somehow age worse. But, like, I feel like, you know, from starting from, like, 2002 to, like, 2008, 2007, like, I feel like that little period of the 2000s has actually aged worse, like way worse than most 80s or 90s things. Like, especially with like the amount of like just garbage, like bigotry, like homophobia, transphobia, just mean-spirited bullshit, like just all of the like George Bushness of it all, like the American conservative fucking garbage. Sorry, I don't mean to get all political.
Oh, that's fine.
I've alienated. I've straight up alienated friends from my politics. Like, people have stopped being friends with me because of my fucking politics. So, like, if I get, like, a little radical leftist, I'm sorry, that's just who the fuck I am. But, like, anyway, sorry. Yeah, I'm actually still gonna say, even with all of those comments, saying those comments, I'm actually gonna say, I know it may sound like I'm about to say shelf, but I'm gonna say stack. I do love this movie, warts and all, and this movie does have some warts, but I think there's still some fun in this movie. I think there are better anthology movies, especially now that we, like, of course, Creepshow. Creepshow is a fucking masterpiece. Creepshow is amazing. And then we have, like, I feel like even some of the VHS movies, I know VHS can be a little, like, some people are like, nah, those movies suck. But, like, I feel like even some of the VHS movies have actually are even better than this. But, like, I still think there's still some, like, really good October Halloween charm to this that's still, and that's actually original and decent and, like, fun to watch and is still, like, worth watching. Especially just, like, I'm sorry, y'all, like, my favorite thing about this movie in itself is just Sam, the character. Like, I just love that character so much. He's so adorable. Like, even when he reveals his true form at the end of the movie, and it's like, oh no, he's an ugly ghost monster. But, like, even then, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, y'all, he's still fucking adorable. Like, I would still, like, totally give this kid a little hug and give him some candy and, like, you know, like, let him watch horror movies and play scary video games because it's Halloween. Like, no, come on, Sam. Let's watch some horror movies together. Hell yeah. Like, no, like, Sam is just the greatest character out of this entire thing. I think he's the greatest invention out of this entire thing too. Like, I think there are very genuine faults in this movie, but Sam is the shining beacon of this movie. Like, just the character itself. I think the character is brilliant for this type of movie, and like him just being the spirit of fucking Halloween. Like, yeah, hell yeah, okay, sure, yeah, like, it totally works. His costume is awesome. His whole character is super original too for the time. Like, yeah, like this, I think that's just my critical review of this movie is that, like, Sam is the best thing about this movie, and I will leave candy out for Sam on Halloween, and I'll decorate my apartment and do all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna say stack. I'm actually gonna say for this movie stack. I know for the most part with most movie episodes I've been on for this show, I'm usually saying box because, like, pretty much all the other movies we've talked about here, like, have been, like, masterpieces. But yeah, I'm gonna say for this stack. There's still some parts of this that are totally worth watching. I'm gonna just say check this out if it really catches your attention, but viewer discretion is advised. And I don't mean that, you know, soccer mom way or whatever. Like, no, it's like there might be some things that may kind of bug you and it may, like, weird you out. I'm sorry. Yeah, viewer discretion is advised.
All right. And Tiffany.
I'm gonna put it on the stack, if only to watch it again. I really, like, now that everybody's, like, spoken about it, I wanna, like, watch it and pay attention to those details.
You just gotta stand up the whole time.
No, you know what? No. Not how this works out.
Hey, I watched movies standing up before, actually. I read a book once walking home from school, so hey, what do I got?
Wow, you read a book while walking. That's some
not a good idea. But
yeah, that's viewers at home, please, like, don't actually do that. That's extremely dangerous. That is some excellent motor skills. Holy shit.
Yeah, I was irritated that I had to stay at school, and I took away because I had shorter days and I was mad. But I had to stay. So I read a book on the way home. That's neither here nor there. And Ken, what about you?
Before I say, let me just say that we called this movie a 2007 movie. It wasn't released by Warner Brothers until 2009, and it never got a theatrical release. Never.
Wow.
It was dumped into video stores and, just straight to video. The fact that this movie has had all of that go against it, but you can walk into any Hot Topic and this is all you see during this season, it's astounding.
Yeah. I think this movie did actually get its redemption song. Like, even if it may not, like, seem like it at first, like, no, this movie got its redemption song.
It is 100% one of the most cultiest of cult classics. Now, I'm going to be the lone dissenter. I'm going to put this on the shelf because I love this movie.
Okay.
I love this movie. I know it hasn't aged well, but I haven't either. And as much as I would love to say that I am always a better person than I was, sometimes I'm not.
Ken, do you need a hug or something? Like, do you need like a hug or something? Good.
I am
Just
at
want to make
peace with who I am.
Good. Good.
And for those times and for Halloween, I know that trick or treat is there for me. So yeah, 100% on the shelf for me, just because I've made a lot of great friends watching this movie. I watch this movie with my friends every Halloween. I watch this movie by myself every Halloween. Like it feels like it should be as much of a part of Halloween as It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. But A, Charlie Brown's an asshole. And B, this movie has not really aged that well. So
Has Charlie Brown aged well?
Well, there's nothing really objectionable in Charlie Brown except, everybody's just kind of shitty to Linus. Like, if this movie would have aged a little better, I would absolutely say that this should be on everybody's shelf for Halloween times. But because it does have some things that may affect your enjoyment of it, maybe not for you, but it is for me. Also, there's a dog named Spite.
That's true. That's actually pretty great.
That's the most baller damn thing. Like,
that is pretty good.
Just have a dog named Spite, have a cat named Hatred, and you're set. Like, anyway, before I got distracted, shelf. Thank you.
That was good. No, I'm glad that you suggested this. Like, this was a good way to finish out Halloween. I didn't realize this was a cult classic. I thought this was just a beloved movie because of the way people talk about it. Well, I shouldn't say the way people talk about it. I should say how much merchandise I see.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I had the Funko Pop.
That you didn't want.
You're right.
I also have a Funko Pop of Sam at work.
I got one at Five Below.
I might be able to keep it at work. Who knows?
Well, they wouldn't know. Not as obvious.
They wouldn't know unless I told them. He's a little murderous being.
Yeah, that wouldn't go along with the church-loving place that you work at.
Oh, well.
All right, let's go to plugs and Mr. Bill.
Yes, sorry, I don't know why I paused for so long on that. I apologize for making you do more work, Mr. Albertin.
First time plugging it.
Yeah, I know. I gotta think about what to say. It's just so new. I do a show entitled A Gamer Looks at 40. It's a nostalgic romp through video games as we talk about the games of yore and why we love them so much and the heart and soul of it as opposed to the nuts and bolts. So it's a neat little show. I am in the midst of a Final Fantasy series right now that will never end. And that's just going to be how it is. So if you enjoy nostalgic video games and if you listen to this podcast, I'm sure you do, then check out all of my stuff at agamerlooks4040.com.
All right. And Mr. Kenneth.
As always, you can find me on myriad episodes of Games My Mom Found. You can find me on Twitter at Professor Sanity. My writings on film are located at kennethsanity.wordpress.com. And hopefully the last time I'll be saying this without a name, my movie podcast will be coming. It will start recording probably right after you hear this episode. So it's going to be a great time. Keep an ear out. You guys are going to hear something about it first.
And Kyle.
Well, before I start, I just want to say I'm a very big fan of both Kenneth Sanity and Bill Tucker's projects. I am especially a big fan of Bill's podcast. I follow it and everything. It's good stuff. But yeah, you can find my podcast at the Unidentified Flying Obsession Podcast or the UFO Podcast. You can find that pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at Chibi UFO, CHIBIUFO.bsky.social. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Chibi UFO. You can find me in all those places. I hope you all tune in. I'm actually getting a couple of episodes ready for the end of October for my podcast. I'm going to be having a spooky video game music edition of Video Game Music Love. And I'm going to be having a really fun little retrospective also for Halloween with a couple of awesome guests. I'm very excited to get in and record with them. I'm super excited for the month of October, and I'm going to be getting them out, right near the end of the month. So I hope all of you, if you listen, thank you for listening. If you don't, I hope you give it a listen.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 700 other episodes of this podcast, you can find everything we do on Podbean. We do movies, comics, TV shows, video games. Definitely go check out our giant catalog. If you want to hear these gentlemen's shows, you will see links in the show notes. Definitely go check them all out. And while you're shout out my awesome intro and outro, because Helena at Hell Has Free, you can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. And if you want to support the show, do a Patreon of Little Dog Vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 or 2 every month, so definitely go check that out and support the show. And if you want to be on the show or you want to affect the show also, join the Discord. It's free. You will see a link in the show notes for that. And I'm always happy to have new people join us and chat with us. Or just lurk if that's what you want to do. That's fine too. Makes the number go up.
That's what I do.
I'm happy. So, and please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, audio only, TikTok, squirrel videos when I get around to it. And it is. And rate and reviews where you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
So long, everyone.
Mine was lame.